Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. My name is Lindsey Funtik, and I am the coordinator of volunteer ministries at Ashland First United Methodist Church. And I hope that you are enjoying this very foggy Thursday thus far. I'm sitting in the church library, and it's kind of hard to see out the window, so kind of spooky, but good for the end of October. For those of you who are just tuning in, I hop on here every Thursday to share a little bit about my devotional life and some of the things that the Lord has been teaching me this week. So, you all have heard me talk about Lectio 365 before, and it is a prayer app that I use every day, and it's just a really, really good way to focus my thoughts on the Lord. I listen to it as I drive to work on my commute. And this week, the theme of the devotions focus on mission as it pertains to the story of Joseph in Genesis 37. And on a personal note, I love reflecting on this because my first year of seminary, I was the drama director at my alma mater, and I directed Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. So go, 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 Joseph, you know what they say. Hopefully that gets stuck in your head today. So you're welcome for that. But for those of you who are not familiar with either Genesis 37 or Donny Osmond in the movie version of the musical, the story goes that Joseph was most loved by his father Jacob of all of the brothers, and was given a coat of many colors, a royal coat. It kind of shows the father's favoritism of Joseph, and his brothers did not like that. They were not fans of being overlooked as they perceived it. And so they plot to kill Joseph and ultimately decide to just sell him into slavery. It was not necessarily a merciful choice, but a greedy one. So the entire story kind of walks through Joseph's ascent through the ranks of Egypt and the ultimate mercy that he shows on his brothers when they come begging for help during a famine. But today my thoughts are on the brothers themselves. So I know Pastor Allen has talked about this, that often in biblical stories we view ourselves as the heroes, but the brothers, while they are the bad guys, and their actions were deplorable, I see a lot of myself in them. So raise your hand if you have ever struggled with comparison or envy or jealousy. I think especially in the age of social media, it's very easy because it's so visible. You know, you see this person got a job promotion and this ex has moved on, and this person is getting engaged or married or having babies or retiring. Whatever it might be, the successes of others are so visible to us now. And I think that it is so easy for us in our human fallen nature to begin to really kind of let that fester and let that jealousy kind of take over. And often it can lead us to taking actions that we otherwise might not, to thinking thoughts that we otherwise might not. And I'm sure, that Joseph's brothers, it wasn't an instantaneous decision to kill Joseph. It was these things that kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, these things that had built up. So I have heard a long time ago that comparison is the thief of joy. And that statement has really stuck with me because it is so true that often when we are looking so hard at what others have that we wish we had, or even didn't know that we wanted until we saw that somebody else had it, it really does steal our joy, and it kind of sucks the oxygen out of our ability to see our own blessings and to celebrate our own journey no matter where we are. So I think that this is a very human thing. We all have felt this. We all will probably feel this at one point or another in our lives. But there are two paths I think we can take. So the first is the path that, upon reflection, I think that is actually kind of celebrated in the West. It's like, be competitive, get ahead, do what you got to do. So when it comes to Joseph's brothers, it's not until much later that they that they realized they didn't really get away with it. They got ahead in this way. They eliminated the competition. And that's the way of the brothers, that they let it fester. They took action. And though the consequences were not immediate, they did end up coming face to face with Joseph. So being competitive and getting ahead, these are things that are kind of celebrated in our culture. And a little bit of healthy competition, of course, is not bad. But it's this act of cutting others down because of our own envy and jealousy and comparison. Or I would argue that the way of Jesus, this second way, is to wrestle with the why of what we are feeling. So if I look at somebody else and think that, the Lord has blessed them, or they're so much more loved than I am, or they're farther ahead, I really think that it's a call by the Holy Spirit to help us examine why we are feeling this way, why we feel insecure, what about us makes us feel that we are not loved already, that we are not blessed already, that we have to look to other pastures rather than enjoying the green in our own. So that can be a really difficult thing, but I think this path does call us to wrestle with that why, to see the speck in the plank in our own eye rather than the speck in our brothers or sisters. And I think a human inclination that this calls us to fight against is to know that the coat of many colors that our sister or our brother wears does not diminish the color of our own. The blessing or the achievement or the gifts and talents that our brother or sister has does not diminish our own. The Lord has given each of us these things, these gifts, these opportunities, and we can focus on our own journey while also cheering on that of those beside us. And in all of this, I've just been praising God for the fact that God's kingdom, is tall and wide and deep enough for absolutely every one of us. There's a place for all of us there. So though it's hard, don't let feelings of comparison, of envy, or jealousy fester, because it ultimately takes away our ability to think rationally, to think clearly. As Joseph's brothers saw, their actions came back to haunt them. There was even an exercise I did with my students that were cast as the brothers, that they had to sing this song that kind of was telling Jacob that Joseph was dead. And as they were singing it, I was yelling at them like, you killed him. You did this. This regret is sitting in. And so that they had to sit with it. I was pretty proud of that from a theatrical exercise standpoint. But all of that to say, we're not ourselves when we're consumed by comparison. So in this, it's a call to not tear down, but to build up, to encourage one another, no matter where each of us are, to know that the Lord loves each and every one of us just the same. And there's room for all of us. So with that, First United Methodist, I love you. I think of you. I'm praying for you. And I celebrate all of our individual gifts where we all are on our own journeys, and the fact that we get to walk it side by side. So everybody have a great Thursday, and I look forward to seeing you all very soon.